Hey, so I thought I would do a video about my journey to recovery after getting a um, arthroscopic meniscus root repair surgery done. That's a lot of words, but I want to make sure that I differentiate just a regular meniscus repair with a root repair, which is a little bit more severe. Had this surgery done a week ago, and my plan is to post a video every week for maybe the next 12 or 16 weeks or so, just charting my progress. If you've had this surgery done, feel free to post comments. Hopefully this can help someone. But I had been a runner. I still consider myself to be a runner. I was averaging between 30 and 40 miles a week for nearly 8 years, and it eventually just worn down. When I was in my late 20s, I had a couple minor surgeries to repair torn cartilage, but nothing of this extent. So I am slightly bow-legged, which does not lend itself well, I understand, to long-distance running. The analogy that I've heard is it's like having a car out of balance. There's going to be certain parts of your tires or a tire that absorbs all the shock, and that was what was happening to my meniscus. So in July of this year, I had an MRI done, and it was revealed I needed to have the surgery. So I delayed it a little bit and had it done September 21st of this year. And yeah, I really just didn't see a lot of information about recovery online, so that's what compelled me to put this together. I recall the first day being a little bit of a blur. I mean, you know what it's like coming out of surgery. The doctor said that it went well. He was able to repair it. He had trouble anchoring the stitches, from what I understand, but he did not remove any of my meniscus, which is a big deal when you're my age. I'm 39. And his estimate was that I could get back to 90%. So I'm not sure what 90% means. I guess I'll find out. But after a couple days, I started to feel a little bit better. I will say one thing, that I was absorbing, obviously, all my weight on my left side. That's much more difficult than I had anticipated. So literally, instead of 50-50 or 100%, I've never had a problem with my left knee, but it started to hurt a little bit because you're constantly getting up using that knee. So just be careful that you're asking for assistance really as much as possible. I also got a pretty bad black and blue mark under my right arm where the crutch was. So if you could get some padding there. It didn't hurt, and I think I still have it, but it was just kind of annoying. If you're a runner, you definitely want to use something like anti-chafing gel like Glide, maybe in this area a little bit more, just to absorb the crutch friction. But I would say maybe after 2 or 3 days, the pain started to subside a bit. I was icing, and I still am icing my knee frequently every 2 hours. So you want to keep that RICE acronym in mind: rest, ice, compression, elevate. If you're not icing your knee above your heart, you're really not doing too much good, because you don't allow the blood to flow away from your knee. So just keep that in mind. After day 3 or 4, I was able to put some very light weight on the leg, maybe just like touching the floor, which was kind of nice. I saw my physical therapist on day 4, and they took the bandage off, which was great. And they gave me 3 exercises. So I'm sure you've seen these before, like a leg raise. They encouraged me to stretch my leg back as far as I can. I'm about 70 degrees at this point. I'm not 90 like I know they want to be. They want me to be eventually. And then they gave me one more exercise that's a little bit too complex to explain on a video, but I included those in my morning workout. So I'm still working out in the morning. I'm doing core stuff because I want to stay in shape if I can. So I'm doing, I have like a stomach crunch machine, for lack of a better word or phrase. I'm not sure what they call it. I do some of those. I do 100 sit-ups. I do 100 crunches. I do about 50 push-ups. I do a 3 or 4 minute plank. I do some things on the bench with weights, and then I do these exercises, and I might rotate that 2 or 3 times. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes depending on how I'm feeling. And so far that's been working well. Everything just takes so much longer, and that's the annoying part. And now I'm at day 7 exactly, a week into the recovery, and I'd say this is the day that I'm feeling the best. I'm not sure if I would recommend what I just did, but I got in a pool tonight just to get my bearings about me. Obviously I didn't have my brace on, and I just did some upper body movement just to kind of familiarize myself with the pool again and try to get loose. And you know, I have been swimming, or I was swimming a lot before this injury, so that felt good. I then got in the hot tub, I stretched in the sauna and steam room, and it feels pretty good now. So I'm going to ice it for about 20 minutes before bedtime, see how that feels. And my plan is to have another report in another 7 days. So once again, if you have any comments, feel free to post them here. Thanks for listening.